And here's a Times Now exclusive. Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee speaks to Times Now in the backdrop of the Indo-US Economic Trade Forum in Washington. This after Pranab Mukherjee's second appearance at the forum, which was established last year.
Going Indo-US economic dialogue on the ministerial level was inaugurated in 2010. Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee has just concluded the second round of dialogue here in Washington, D.C. He held detailed talks with U.S. Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner about boosting Indo-US trade as well as the barriers to this trade. He also had a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton as well as U.S. National Security Advisor Tom Donilon. In an exclusive interview with Times Now, Mukherjee tells us about his visit to Washington, D.C. as well as other issues in India. Joining us is Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee in Washington, D.C. Mr. Mukherjee, you just concluded a range of talks with the Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner, and Mr. Geithner has called for easing the trade barriers in India and has also asked for more reform. What was the focus of your talks when it came to reforms in India?
In fact, this is the second meeting of our partnership on finance and economic matters between India and USA. We launched this partnership last year in April in New Delhi. We had a very wide range of discussions covering trade, investment, deepening market, and also we took the opportunity of reviewing the global developments, adjustments of macroeconomic policies. So, in short, this is the continuation of the initiative which was taken in New Delhi, and now it would be a regular feature, and we will meet annually, alternatively in USA and India. Therefore, we have discussed, of course, the question of a reform scheme, and we pointed out that reform is a continuing one. India is in the process of reforms. Certain reforms are to be carried on through legislative process. For instance, 3 important legislations are pending. One is for Banking Regulation Act, another is FDI on insurance sectors, third one is the regulatory authority to manage the pension funds. We are talking to various political parties to evolve a consensus so that these legislations are passed in Parliament. We explained the position there, and it is appreciated.
When it comes to reform in the financial sector, Minister Mukherjee, there is some contention that that reform might have taken a back seat in the last few months or to a year. How do you respond to that?
No, there is no question of taking back seat or front seat. I mentioned it is a continuing one. But when the legislation is to be done, for legislation we require the support of the other political parties because we do not have the majority.
Now, you also had a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton as well as National Security Advisor Tom Donilon. What was the focus of those meetings?
We discussed the geopolitical situation. Secretary Hillary Clinton will be visiting New Delhi for the strategic dialogue. We discussed the areas which we are under consideration. Our relationship is of strategic partnership, and there are various angles which will be covered during her visit. We discussed some of those issues. With National Security Advisor, we also discussed the geopolitical situation in the area and also in our extended neighborhood.
And did those talks also include the ongoing changes also in Afghanistan and in Pakistan?
It covered various issues and we exchanged our views.
Minister Mukherjee, when it comes to inflation, of course, this is, as you pointed out, a rising worry in India as well. How do you think the increase in the fuel prices as well as cooking oil will impact inflation?
It will have some impact on inflation. 15% increase in the fuel prices will have about impact of about 1% inflationary indication, but some will be adjusted because we have also sacrificed some revenues which will not be totally passed on. Of course, it will give benefit to the oil marketing companies, but it will have some inflationary impact. There is no doubt in it, but it was inevitable.
In his interview with Times Now, Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee maintained that the pace of economic reform in India remains on track and has not taken a back seat. He also explained that foreign direct investment usually drops off during the first few months of the fiscal year, but it is likely that this will pick up again. Also explaining the rise in prices of fuel as well as cooking oil, he explained that this was a necessity and the government had no choice. In Washington, D.C., Natasha Srani for Times Now.